So my first question to you in this conversation, my friend, what is the biggest misconceptions we have about metaphysical concepts, which are tossed around, woo woo here, woo woo there, this or that. And that's a large question, so do the best you can.
Yeah, I was gonna say, have you got a couple hours? Uh, biggest misconceptions. Well, I mean, one of the things that Bashar goes into a lot when he does do sessions is about a lot of people are still kind of using a lot of outdated definitions, old-fashioned definitions that can actually sort of mislead people into thinking how certain metaphysical things work. And so my appreciation for what he's delivering has a lot to do with bringing a lot of definitions into the 21st century. So,
Mhm.
it's kind of like an example I often use, and of course, it doesn't matter if people use these definitions, it's just that it can promote a misunderstanding. If they understand how these things work, they can use whatever definition they want. But since we have not had a lot of clarity about how metaphysical experiences actually work, a lot of people substitute the mechanism that's causing them for the definition of the experience, which is not the same thing. So an analogy of this is, we still say sunset. We know the sun doesn't set. We know the earth is revolving. And that's the mechanism, the true mechanism, but we still say sunset. So it's fine to say sunset, but now at least we know it's not that the sun is moving, it's that the earth is revolving. So a lot of metaphysical concepts still have their outdated definitions, and no one is really explaining, no, it's that the earth is revolving. That's what causes this experience. Call it what you will, but
Mhm.
the description of the experience is not the same thing as a description of the mechanism that causes it. So I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions I run across all the time.
So what are some of these, classic metaphysical terms that I've just
Well,
are completely old fashioned?
a good example is things like telepathy. Our old-fashioned definition is that, I'm reading your mind. Bashar explains the idea as a matter of harmonizing vibrational frequencies so that if you're on the same wavelength as someone else, you're having the same thoughts at the same time because those are the thoughts that go with that frequency. So it's not that you're reading their mind, you're reading your own mind, but you coincidentally, synchronistically have the same thoughts. So you know what they're thinking, but it's not literally that you're reading their mind. So knowing the truth about the mechanism applies to a lot of different things in metaphysics that have to do with vibrational harmony and resonance and so on and so forth. And we understand that the apparent experience is, oh, I'm reading your mind, but that's not what's actually happening to make that experience function.
When you said frequency, this is a concept that's been tossed around a lot because one of the other things we talk about on the show a bunch is about the pyramids and those kind of megaliths and those kind of ideas of ancient civilizations. But the frequency, and I've heard this said before, if you can tap into or know the frequency of a rock or of something heavy, you can connect with it at a different level, lift it up with sound or other things like that. What
Right.
does Bashar say about all that?
Well, to him, everything is about resonance. Everything is about vibration of energy. Everything is about the frequency that you're operating on that allows you to perceive certain things and accomplish certain things. Because from his point of view, it's just physics. You can't perceive what you're not the vibration of. Even Einstein said, you can't solve a problem from the same level in which the problem was created. You have to go to a different level where the solution exists. And Bashar explains all this as a matter of elevating your frequency, your vibration, your energy to the state that is commensurate with the information that you're seeking. So this is kind of what the channeling is all about, is when I go into the channeling state, my brain's going into a different frequency. It's going into what's called the gamma frequency, between 40 and 100 cycles per second. And in that state, that's representative of anyone's capability of getting into that state when you're doing what you love to do, when you're in the zone, so to speak. You're operating in that gamma frequency more often than not. Even in deep meditations, you go into gamma frequency. So when you're in that state, when you're operating at that frequency, you are receiving the information that is germane to that level. So you can synthesize information differently. You can make different kinds of connections and associations. You see things from a different perspective, from the perspective that is relevant to that frequency. So you can't know information unless you're on the frequency of that information. But vice versa, if you're on that level, only that kind of information comes to you, and nothing else that's of a different vibration actually is visible to you anymore. So it's everything is resonance. And if everything is one thing, let's go there. The only reason that things appear different is because of the different frequencies of different aspects of that one thing. That's what makes things different. Just like, you know, electromagnetic energy is one thing, but you see it as red light as a frequency, you see it as blue light as a different frequency. It's all the same stuff. The only difference is the frequency of that energy. So that's how everything operates according to Bashar.
To watch the full video, click on the link below, and don't forget to subscribe.